Once upon a time, in a small, dusty town called Maple Ridge, there was a rich man named Mr. Whitmore. He owned the biggest car dealership in 3 counties. People said he could sell snow to Eskimos and still make a profit. One summer, a rare, old racing engine arrived at his private workshop. It came from Italy, wrapped in crates and mystery. The engine was said to belong to a car that once raced in the Grand Prix of 1962. But now it was stone cold, lifeless. No one could fix it. Top engineers tried and failed. Mr. Whitmore even called an expert from the city. But one by one, they all shook their heads and said the same thing. It's finished. Let it go. But Mr. Whitmore hated hearing no. So one hot afternoon, after yet another failed repair, he stormed across the street to a small, forgotten garage with a crooked sign, Johnson and Daughters Repair. The Johnson garage was nothing fancy. The paint was peeling, the windows dusty, and the customer bell hadn't rung in weeks. People barely came anymore. Some whispered that Mr. Johnson's best years were behind him. Others just didn't trust a small, black-owned business in a town like Maple Ridge. Inside the garage was Mr. Johnson, an aging mechanic with a quiet soul and heavy eyes. And beside him, usually silent, always in the background, was his daughter Maya. She was only 9 years old. Now, Maya hadn't always been there. She used to be in school, a smart girl full of ideas, but never interested in textbooks. She liked moving things, breaking them apart, putting them back together. Her teachers called her restless. The principal called her trouble. You can't just skip class and mess with tools all day, they'd say. But Maya couldn't help it. She didn't fit into the walls of a classroom. After being suspended more times than anyone could count, the school finally sent her home for good. Her father was disappointed, but not angry. He just said, well, if you're going to be here, you better make yourself useful. And that's how it started. At first, Maya just watched. She passed her father the right wrench. She swept the floor. She listened. Then one day, while cleaning out an old shelf, she found a dusty box. Inside it was a notebook. The leather was cracked, the pages yellowed. On the front it said, Carla Ventini Designs and Dreams. That was her mother's name. Her mother had passed when Maya was young. She never knew much about her. But now, flipping through those pages, Maya found something that spoke to her like nothing else ever had. Notes, sketches, diagrams, engine parts labeled with neat handwriting, tips on power, timing, sound. The journal was more than a notebook. It was a map to a hidden world. From that day on, Maya didn't just help her father. She studied, she practiced, she built, and slowly, quietly, the Johnson garage began to change. Mr. Whitmore barged in one afternoon, red-faced and frustrated. Johnson, he snapped, I've got an engine nobody in this town can fix. You think you can crack it? Mr. Johnson wiped his hands and replied, I'm too old for puzzles, Whitmore, but maybe my daughter could give a go. Whitmore stared at Maya, then laughed. Her? You're kidding. I'm not, Mr. Johnson said. 3 days. Let her try. Fine, Whitmore smirked. If she fails, she can wash every car on my lot for a month. If she wins, hell, I'll eat my hat. Maya didn't blink. Deal, she said. On the first day, Maya arrived at Whitmore's garage before sunrise. The engine sat in the center of the room like a dead beast. Everyone watched her, some with pity, some with laughter. She didn't speak. She didn't flinch. She pulled out a little notebook, weathered, stained with oil, and started writing things down. Then she began her work. On the second day, she brought her own tools, not the shiny ones from a city, but the ones she had fixed herself. She sang under her breath as she worked, tightening screws, cleaning lines, and checking every valve. She didn't eat much, didn't stop much, just worked. By the third day, a small crowd had gathered. Mr. Whitmore stood back with folded arms, ready to laugh. His engineers whispered, poor girl's going to embarrass herself. But Maya didn't hear them. Or maybe she did and just didn't care. That afternoon, she poured in the oil, reconnected the final line, and stepped back. Try it, she said. The room went silent. One of the engineers turned the key. For a moment, nothing. Then a cough. Then another. Then the engine roared to life. A deep, thunderous sound filled the garage like music from the past. People jumped. Someone dropped their wrench. Maya didn't move. She just stood there, eyes calm, as the impossible engine purred like a tiger. Mr. Whitmore's jaw dropped. How did you? Maya wiped her hands and finally looked him in the eye. You were all treating it like a machine. But it's more than that. This engine was modified in 1963 by a woman named Carla Ventini. She was an Italian racer who rewired her cars to run hotter and faster. But her tweaks never made it into the manuals. Whitmore blinked. How do you even know that? Maya smiled and held up her little notebook. My mom was Carla's apprentice. She passed on everything she knew before she passed. The room was silent. Whitmore took off his hat, stared at it, then slowly put back on. I said I'd eat my hat, but maybe instead, I'll offer you a job. Maya shook her head politely. No thanks. I've already got a garage, and I like working with my dad. And so, the girl everyone ignored became the girl nobody could stop talking about. People came from all over to have Maya look at their engines. And Mr. Whitmore, well, let's just say he never doubted the Johnson name again. As for the engine, it went on display at a museum, but only after Maya signed the inside in tiny letters. Maya Johnson. Fixed it with love, not luck. And that, my friend, is a story of how a quiet girl, the daughter of a black mechanic, did the impossible, and reminded everyone that sometimes the secret isn't in the engine, it's in the hands that touch it. For more inspiring stories like this, support us by tapping the like and subscribe button.